Tropicana Field, a place he called home for 9 seasons, which included a trip to the World Series. With a win against the Rays tonight, Zobrist and the Royals will be 30 games above 500. Royals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. As we move indoors in St. Petersburg, the Royals are on the road for only 3 against the Rays. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Ben Zobrist is back here, and if you run into anybody associated with the Rays, they have a Ben Zobrist story for you. Half of those stories of what he did on the field and half what he did off the field.
Yeah, what a great player, and also what a tremendously kind human being. He does a lot for the community. Great to see him now in Royal Blue.
And on the field, Ben Zobrist was one of the Rays' best. He was there when they went to the World Series, and every team has named a franchise 4, the 4 best players in franchise history, and Ben Zobrist is on that list.
You know, and I wouldn't have had expected that until I saw these numbers. This is really impressive about what he's done in his time here in the Rays, and I'm sure the fans are going to love seeing him back here, although not in that Royal Blue.
Because as a Royal, and in particular at Kauffman Stadium, Ben Zobrist has been one of the most productive Royals since he arrived. He is our most trusted player, brought to you by the most trusted brand, Honda.
And either side of the plate, you can trust him. Are you kidding? That type of production, his on-base percentage, how patient he is, and love how he sets that bat down. That's a beautiful thing. Hope we see that stroke here at the Trop.
And the Royals, they don't have the best of memories in this ballpark. The Rays offensively have given them a bad time in years past. That's what's waiting for Edinson Volquez, and Joel and Monty will talk about him after this.
Up in the corner, it is gone! A home run by Salvador Perez.
Fastball right down the middle. Salvi shortened up his swing, got up under it, and gave him the lead.
All right, that was a big moment. Our AT&T U-Burst rewind 4-2 down in the ninth. And Salvador Perez, very meaningful.
Very meaningful. Came at a time in the season when the Royals were really looking to get that momentum for that playoff push. Big turning point for them.
Joel Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery, and by the way, tell you how loose he is. Edinson Volquez, who's about ready to start, was just making faces behind the camera. Let's talk a little bit about Edinson Volquez, and he's been going deep in the game, 8 straight games of 6 innings or more. Our Academy Sports and Outdoor Leaderboard takes a look at what he's been able to do with runners in scoring position. How is he so effective?
Well, one reason he can stay in those games, Joel, is because when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, and that's what we see here from Edinson Volquez. He really never panics. There'll be nobody out, guys on base. He finds a way to work himself out of those situations.
Well, he has been very good in his career against the Rays and will be set to begin this short road trip here for the Royals. On the other side, Erasmo Ramirez has one career start against the Royals. It was with Seattle, and Salvi homered against him. First pitch is coming up next.
Gets back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. And by your Kansas City Chevy dealers. Visit your local Chevy dealers today for great prices on all the new 2015 vehicles. Our Toyota League leaders shows us the best records in the American League, and the Royals still fighting for home field advantage. And with their win and the Blue Jays loss, the Royals now have a 7-game lead in that category. So their magic number to clinch home field throughout the playoffs is 29. And here's the Royals lineup today with Lorenzo Cain back, Eric Hosmer back after getting yesterday off in the final game with Baltimore. And Paulo Orlando, who had an impressive home run yesterday, he will play in left field. Facing right-hander Erasmo Ramirez.
Yep, Erasmo Ramirez could present some problems for the offense because he's got a fastball changeup combination, and those two things, if they're located in the right places, can be dangerous. He'll mix in some sliders and curves to keep him off balance, but this young man, he likes to be aggressive with his fastball, and then he'll work that changeup, as his changeup is his best pitch.
And now Tampa Bay defensively, Rene Rivera is back at the plate for Ramirez.
Yep, look at that throwing out percentage. Him and Rassimo will do all they can to get that ball home quickly to prevent any steals. But the Royals really haven't relied on the must-steal situation. So really, because Ned Yost believes that a runner at first base is a runner in scoring position, and he's been right.
Rays just a couple of days ago put Curt Casale, one of their catchers, on the disabled list, so more playing time for Rivera. And now Alcides Escobar. He had a huge series against Tampa Bay last month, and the Royals swept that 4-game series. Escobar was 9 out of 18. Home plate umpire Jeff Kellogg communicating with his second base umpire, who's in charge of the time. Kellogg is the crew chief. Brian Honora, Clint Fagan, and Alan Porter, the rest of the group. And there's a ground ball foul. Escobar still hitting well over 300 when he puts the first pitch of the game in play.
Yeah, you know, and he tells me that he likes to get in the game. First pitch, he wants to swing, and that tells him that he's already gauged his swing against the pitcher's pitch. Slider away. He'll go to righties. He likes to use that slider away to righties and in to lefties. His fastball 89 to 92 with some two-seam sink.
2-1. A little bit outside. 3 balls and 1 strike from Ramirez, who last faced the Royals 2 years ago when he was pitching for Seattle. So very few Royals in the lineup today have much experience against him. As Escobar cranks it out into deep left center field, but Grady Sizemore is there and makes the play. And now Ben Zobrist, and they had a very moving video tribute for him before the game started. And we invite you to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. And then his wife, Julianne, performed the national anthem. And his walk-up song is a song recorded by his wife, and maybe you saw him pointing up to the press box as he was coming to the plate. It's not very often a team will give the visiting player his walk-up song. That's usually just reserved for when they're at home, but that shows you how much respect they have for Zobrist here in St. Petersburg.
Yes, you know, it was very moving before the game to see all of his teammates standing up, his ex-teammates standing.
Barehanded out at first on a close play. I'm sure the Royals will pick up the phone and take another look. Zobrist is in no hurry to leave first base.
And he shouldn't be. It looked to me like he beat it. Cabrera with a nice barehanded play. I thought this was going to take a bad hop on him after that third hop. 1, 2, 3. And that third hop sometimes can mess up a shortstop coming in. The ball was hit slowly. And I can just tell you, foot is on there before that ball's in the back of the glove. Zobrist earning that infield hit. Good hustle. And you hear the home crowd cheer for him on the replay. That's rare.
Up on the video board inside the stadium.
They're pulling for their ex-guy. And you know, I was telling you, Ryan, before the game, you know, they announced, you know, they showed a picture of him. He was standing behind home plate, and then all of his ex-teammates to the Rays, all of them, are on the top step on the front row with their hats tipped and everything, and he is safe. That's the 113th infield hit by the Royals. That's tied for 4th in the American League.
Lorenzo Cain had a good series against the Orioles, and that was with taking yesterday off. He had 6 hits in the first 3 games and drove in a couple. Fooled by a slider. No balls and 1 strike. Several Royals, and I mentioned Alcides Escobar, the same for Lorenzo Cain. Several Royals had a good series against Tampa Bay at Kauffman Stadium. The Royals swept the 4-game series, and they outscored Tampa Bay 33-16. Chop foul, no balls, 2 strikes. So Cain 4 for 7. He's a .328 career hitter against the Rays. The Royals have won 18 of their last 23 against Tampa Bay. No throw as Rivera lost the grip.
Erasmo Ramirez doesn't throw over to first base hardly at all. For some reason now what he does is he varies his hold times. But he rarely throws over to first.
Still 1-2.
Looks to me like there's some deception in his delivery too. Now Lorenzo Cain, after that first check swing, he's feeling something in his rib cage. With that visual display of him kind of stretching and turning, boy, you sure hope that's not something.
It's 2 swings in a row.
Yeah.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Rib cage injuries are not good. Those take a while to heal.
Hard to center field. So hard that Zobrist has to stop at second base. Back-to-back singles with 1 out for the Royals.
First baseman, number 75, Hudson.
Boy, what a nice swing this was. He didn't try to do too much. Saw it on the outer half and shorten it up. This is a key to the Royals offense over the last couple of weeks. Staying short to the ball, using the opposite field, and really against a fastball changeup combination guy like Ramirez, that's a great approach. Cain still holding his side on his left side.
Eric Hosmer got yesterday off and had just 1 hit in the Baltimore series. Nidio's saying that one of the traits of a good team and a trait of his team is that there are times when you have several hitters that are hot at the same time, but more times than not you'll have a few, and then when they cool off the next wave comes along. And Eric Hosmer about a week ago was the hottest thing going in the American League, so he's cooled down some, but guys like Mike Moustakas and Alex Rios have grabbed the baton and run with it.
That's right. It's nice to have 1 or 2 guys hot in that lineup, but we did witness once or twice this year all 9 of them shut down at once. And that happens. The pitching is good, but you got to have some runs. 4 is their magic number to get enough runs to win.
1-2. Hosmer has driven in 76, and 22 of those have put his team in front, and that's pretty good company he's in right there. Donaldson, Cruz, and Rodriguez are the only American leaguers who have more.
Hosmer 313 with him out there at second base and beyond.
2-2.
He'll use that high fastball with 2 strikes, and Hosmer's able to lay off of it. 2-seam sink to the fastball, sliders in on lefties, curveballs He'll throw them lots of times first pitch to lefties to get me over. And the changeup with some late sink to it. Those are his pitches. You're going to try to find the right one here.
Full count with Morales on deck. And he's driven in 87. Strike three called. And as quickly as Hosmer got rid of the bat, it would be easy to assume that he wasn't quite sure. And just hoping that home plate umpire Jeff Kellogg would call it low. Let's see what the grid shows us.
Definitely caught some of the plate. Yep, a little too close. With 2 strikes. It's all right. Morales wanted to hit with 2 outs anyway.
Blocked by Rivera. Ball 1. Teams have been pitching Morales very carefully for good reason lately. He's been taking walks. He had 4 in the Baltimore series, and he's had at least 1 walk in his last 6 games. And that's presented more RBI opportunities from Mike Moustakas, who has been cashing them in. There's that changeup. 1-1. .44 of his 87 runs driven in. So just a hair more than half have come with 2 outs.
Pretty impressive, but it's the changeups that get the lefties out.
And back with the same pitch, and it's 1-2.
Yep, he'll double up with him. He just did.
To Loney at first base, and he'll go to the bag. So Ramirez, with 2 on 1 out, gets a strikeout and a ground out for a scoreless top of the first. Toronto took off, so they are now 8 games back, 1 game below 500, and also tied with Baltimore in the wild card, 2.5 games back. That is Kevin Cash, who is from St. Petersburg. His father was a season ticket holder back in '98 when the Devil Rays existence began here inside Tropicana Field. And Tampa Bay was so committed to him, they gave him a 5-year contract to a guy who'd never managed in the big leagues before. Edinson Volquez, as Kia puts us inside the driver's seat.
Always like to see what the opponents are hitting off of him, and not much. Fastball, changeup, curveball. A lot of moving pitches, not a lot of moving parts. He's really been good at repeating his delivery, and his mechanics have all been sound, but same thing as any other pitcher, try to stay out of the middle. Two-seam fastball really has some good life to it. But it's that first inning where you want to try to get on track. Sometimes it takes a pitcher a few innings. Now, Erasmo Ramirez, that last half inning, impressed me. Not many pitchers are able to get the Royals or keep him from scoring a run, but he did.
1-2 on Sizemore. Think of many games when Grady Sizemore was leading off against the Royals, but that was in Cleveland several years ago when he was playing in center field, and still hanging in there as a big leaguer. Now playing in left field for Tampa Bay, batting at .232.
Yeah, nice to see him still playing, especially after all the injuries he's had.
He had a stretch where he had 7 different operations on various parts of his body in 4 years. And the ones that got him in the end, surgeries on his knees, because speed was such a big part of his game.
And he played pedal to the metal. He was an aggressive outfielder. He slowed down some. Still a solid ball player.
10th big league season, and when he came up, 10 big league seasons looked certain. And I thought he had Cooperstown written all over him, the way he got started with Cleveland. And he'll take a walk after falling behind in the count. Volquez not very happy about that, and now he'll rely on his defense, hoping for a ground ball and a double play. And the Royals defense is presented by Ford.
Zobrist starting tonight in his most familiar position. Second base. This artificial surface slows the ball down some. However, if you remember how slow the turf was up in Toronto, it's not that slow, but it's still an artificial surface there. Field turf.
Strike to Daniel Nava, who was picked up off of waivers from the Boston Red Sox. I will forever remember Daniel Nava's 3-run home run at Fenway Park 2 years ago, the first game after the bombings. The Royals were there. A game had been postponed when the suspects were on the loose around Boston, and then the Royals finished up the series, and Neil Diamond showed up and performed Sweet Caroline live for the crowd, and Daniel Nava hit a 3-run home run late in the game to win it for Boston, and it's exactly what New England needed. Up the middle and a base hit in the center, so Volquez got the ground ball, but Nava hits it up the middle, and now Tampa Bay has 2 on, nobody out.
Changeup had a little bit of movement away, but it was up. Talked about that first inning and pitchers trying to find their groove. Erasmo Ramirez, he was the same, except he was able to wiggle out of it. Let's see if Volquez can do the same thing.
Two on for Evan Longoria. Dangerous hitter, but not used to seeing numbers like that this late in the season. Hit foul off to the right field side.
Edison has induced 17 ground ball double plays, and that ties a career high he set last season with the Pirates. So he'd like to first inning double play if he could. Usually gets those pitches on the changeup and a curveball, pitches that all work down. The two-seamer in on righties is a good effective pitch to get him to try to pull it.
Good slider. No balls, 2 strikes. 32 home runs 2 seasons ago. Dropped that by 10 last year, but he still drove in 91 in a season where he played all 162 games. And now 14 home runs, 57 driven in with just a little more than a month ago in the regular season. The breaking ball is outside, 1-2.
Sometimes when you see numbers that fall off a little bit like that for a star player, it's because they got a pattern on it. They know how to pitch it. They're a little bit more effective at hitting their spots, and he's been around enough now where they're trying to find those holes. It's a good low ball hitter. Anything up, you know, with any kind of velocity, you can get it by him, but he's pretty good at the low ball, and he goes with it well to right field. Anything inside, he'll turn on it, but he's pretty good at using the whole field.
Two and two.
$103 strikeouts he's got. That leads his team. You can strike him out.
Has one of the calmest looking batting stances in the game. He was a college teammate of Troy Tulowitzki at Long Beach State. Can you imagine those two on the same team? And Tulowitzki's kind of got that same very upright, quiet stance, not a whole lot of movement. And he got the strikeout. The changeup down and in. One down in the bottom of the first.
The changeup is an effective pitch, and we'll see it a lot tonight from both Volquez and Ramirez.
That'll bring up John Jaso, who is playing in just his 44th game. He missed a big chunk of the season. In fact, over 3 months with a wrist injury. And he had just come off the disabled list when Tampa Bay was in Kansas City last month and looked like a guy who was in mid-season form.
I asked him before the game, are you still hot as you were when you were at the K? And he goes, no, and he laughed. Yeah, I said, man, everything you hit was a line shot at the K. Look at those 4 games, look at the numbers.
That was coming off the disabled list.
Right, had missed what, a month or 2 or whatever. That's impressive. But he remembered and he laughed. He says, no, I wish I was that hot. But talk about stances. Longoria from the right side and now Jaso from the left side. This looks uncomfortable to me. But everyone has their own way to get started. Jaso looks like he's open, but he squats down. Looks like he's riding a skateboard.
In the dirt. Sal goes down to second. And over sliding the bag is Nava. Heads up by Salvador Perez to go to second rather than third. And that is the second out.
Salvi knew he couldn't get Sizemore going to third base. First of all, I loved how he positioned himself to block that ball, to keep it in front of him. A great job by Salvi. Okay, he's trying to square it up, doing the best he can to get in front of it, but it bounces. He looks at both spots, and he uses that quick, short throwing stroke to go to second base. Watch how he positions himself. He tries to get in front of it does a nice job. But look at how he sets his feet. And the perfect throw. Eske's able to keep the tag on Nava.
And now the Rays want a challenge. I don't know if it's the same for other Royals fans, but I had a little flashback on that throw down to second base. It was 4 seasons ago when Salvador Perez made his big league debut here, and he did this. He picked off a runner at first. He got his first base hit. He got his first RBI. And then late in the game, in a very close game, Salvador picked off another runner and nearly picked off a runner at second base, all in that same game. And he handled about 5 or 6 pop-ups, and he had arrived, to say the least.
So did you guys think he was special?
Yes. Well, we knew he was special before he got here, but
right.
You don't know if it's going to take a week or a month for a guy to feel comfortable to do things like that. But
gosh, the one thing that I saw there and I see now, 2 things: the skill level, the passion, the energy. That hasn't changed. He's still animated. And as far as Nava goes, I was talking to him before the game. We were talking about that Boston Strong game. Yeah, he's out. Wow. Beautiful.
Lose their challenge. I was just going to say, Hud, the Rays must be convinced to use their challenge this early in the game, and now that challenge is gone.
I was a little bit surprised they did. But anyway, Nava told us that Salvi picked him off in that game. And it was a close game, and he says he'll never forget that. He goes, oh, no, I just blew this game for us. So he went from the GOAT to the hero when he hit the 3-run bomb. Salvi got him again.
And now Jaso is jammed and hits a slow roller to Hosmer. He goes to the bag. So both Ramirez and Volquez work around 2 base runners in their halves of the first inning. A lot of Royals fans for the final T-shirt Tuesday coming up September 1st. It's the Royals and the Tigers, and the first 10,000 fans through the gates receive this special T-shirt commemorating the Royals Franchise 4, courtesy of Washburn University and School of Law. Mike Moustakas, Salvador Perez, and Alex Rios coming up. And Mike Moustakas just completed an impressive homestand, to say the least. 8 hits in the 4 games, 4 extra base hits, and 7 runs driven in. 1 ball, 1 strike against Ramirez. over a little longer stretch. Moustakas has hit in 8 straight games. That changeup had Moustakas reaching, and that's the shortstop Cabrera over on the right side of second base. 1 down.
Well, I talked about the fact that the Royals in the past have faced a guy with a great changeup. They've struggled, and look at the splits here. Interesting. Lefties, which usually it's the other way around, but the lefties are hitting 179 because of that great changeup he throws. He threw it to Moose for the first pitch in that last at bat there, and Moose, he goes, "What the heck was that?" It was an 80-mile-an-hour changeup, so he's going to throw it a lot to both lefties and righties.
And I guess it's safe to assume that if his changeup is so good and righties hit him so well that he doesn't throw it very often to righties, or it's not as effective to righties.
Well, it comes into righties. Talk about how it's hard to hit anyway, but when the ball's coming into you, it's a little bit easier for you to barrel it and put it into play. So that changeup kind of comes into the righties a little bit, and it's hard for sometimes pitchers to tell you why one side of the plate's hitting more than the other. But I can tell you, Kevin Hickey, their pitching coach, when he first got here, Erasmo, this year, Jim Hickey, excuse me, his first 5 starts in April, he had a 12.71 ERA, and they were worried. They were going, "Oh my gosh, what kind of guy did we get? He's not overpowering. He's not able to hit the middle," but they stayed with him, and he had a 2.90 in May, 1.44 in June. So it gradually kept coming down into where he's been one of their most consistent starters.
And the Rays got him toward the end of spring training. They lost Alex Cobb to Tommy John surgery. And that was a trade that involved Mike Montgomery, the former Royals farmhand. Montgomery to Seattle, Ramirez to Tampa Bay, and then Mike Montgomery threw a shutout against the Royals in Seattle, and then in his next start he threw another shutout. So that at that time that trade was looking really bad if you're a Rays fan. Still 2-2. Salvador with a career high 18 home runs and just 2 away from the Royals record for a catcher. And he goes the other way. So all those pitches in that he was pounding foul, and then he goes the other way for a 1-out single.
Right fielder, number 15, Alex Rios.
Talking with Salvi before the game, he sometimes will say, "What do you see?" He's asking me, "What do you see?" I go, "Well, look, Salvi, you're going to react to that pitch in automatically. You need to start thinking right field and stay thinking right field. Your hands will automatically react to that fastball in." And he was trying to pull him early and count, and there it was. He left him something out over, and Salvi used the opposite field. That is the key to the Royals offense, is going the other way like they've been doing so well this past week or so.
That pitch looked like it was about 6 or 7 inches outside. Alex Rios has hit in 8 straight. You know, far, and look at where it comes in on Fox Tracks after the swing.
Yeah, there's the corner of the plate right there. He really reached out. Way out there.
And he got a good read on a pitch off of Rivera. So a runner at second with 1 out. Rios hasn't had a lot of base runners during his streak. He's hitting .483, and he's only driven in 1. So a lot of hits with the bases empty or a runner at first base. Now he has a runner in scoring position. 2-1.
Well, he too has been benefiting from using the middle to the opposite field with his swings. He's not trying to pull off the ball like he was for such a long period of time. Wasn't getting any results. Now he is.
Got it in on him, and Looney goes into foul ground. 2 outs. Time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag KC Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast, maybe even tonight. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Hashtag KC Data Strong Fan. And here's Paulo Orlando. He hit a monster home run late in the game yesterday. Also had a sac fly. I was talking to Ned about this in our pregame interview. Paulo does things that you'd expect from a 6 or 7 year major league veteran, where he is at his best with the game on the line or late in the game. I mean, for a younger player, normally it's the opposite. You know, they're more relaxed when there isn't much pressure or tension, but when the game's on the line or it's late in the game, they tense up and they let the moment get to him. And Paulo's been the opposite.
But you got to remember, this guy was a 10-year veteran in the minors. He gets his call up this year. He says, I may never get another chance. This is it. I've got to rise to the occasion. And so you put him on this team with all this energy and the championship caliber ball. He's risen to that level. And now he's saying, all right, I belong. But those 10 years, man, that'll really groom you. Beautiful.
There you go. Base hit into right field. Nava was very deep. So Salvador Perez scores, and Orlando just keeps on rolling. 1-0 Royals in the second inning.
Yeah. Paulo's saying, you know what? I'm going to force Ned Yost's pin. He's going to have to pencil me in that lineup because I'm going to keep producing. And that's what that does. You stay hot. You gain favor with the manager's ink pen. Believe it. Beautiful opposite field swing now. We've seen both guys on base here with base hits to right. Shorten it up. And I'm sure Dale Swaim told him, guys, this guy's got a great changeup, and we haven't done that well off of him. Let's be patient.
And a good read by Orlando. Oh, there were 2 outs. He still, with a ground ball to third, he was going to get past Longoria, not allow him the chance to tag him. And Orlando drives in the first run.
honoring Ben Zobrist before the game, and then the anthem, as was done many times during his playing years here, sung by his wife, Juliana Zobrist, and she joins me right now here. And just an amazing performance, and maybe one that was, I'm sure, a little bit different just returning here. What was this like for you?
Yes, it was very different. It was emotional, to say the least, to watch that video, and then being pregnant on top of that. I may have been trying to hold it together a little bit, but it was so special. You know, this was our family for so many years, so it was really a special time for us.
It's such a unique dynamic, too, to have a star player on a team, and now with the Royals, and his wife singing the national anthem. I know you're a professional singer, but what are those moments like when you see your husband about ready to play, and then you're out there performing?
It's definitely one of our favorites. It is so cool to be out on the field with him, and just our worlds kind of colliding in that moment, and those are moments we will never forget.
And then you talked about the emotions. To watch that video right before performing, what are you thinking as you're watching all these fans honoring Ben, and it was just a beautiful video too? What's going through your mind?
Just gratefulness. You know, we never expected to be in baseball in the first place, and now having been in it for so many years, we've just had such an awesome opportunity to meet so many wonderful fans and wonderful people, and just be surrounded. And now with the Royals too, you know, we've not had an absent, you know, we've not been able to ever be somewhere where we've not had amazing fans, so we're very thankful.
Well, I know that things are going really well in Kansas City. It's amazing how quickly things can change too, right? I mean, he said he gets the call about the trade, and you guys are in, Southern California, have to get back to Northern California. There's kids, there's passport and all that. It really changes things for a family, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely, but we made the commitment day one when Ben was first drafted. That was 10 years ago now, and he said, Jules, if we're going to do this baseball thing, we're going to do it together, and we've stuck to that. So we continue to travel together and be together as a family. And we're grateful we can do it.
Well, it's obviously going great. I know that fans in Kansas City now embracing Ben the way they did here. And maybe the guy that knows him longer than anyone is Ned Yost, who refers to him as Benny. That tells me he's really known him a long time. So he knew him way back when you guys were young, right?
Yes, he did. And we were dating. I believe we actually kicked him out of the apartment because it was Valentine's Day. And we were going to cook dinner together, Ben and I were, and Ned was there, and we were like, could you leave, please, so we can have our date night? So, yeah, it's pretty funny.
You may be the only people in the history of the world to have kicked Ned out in the middle of a NASCAR event.
I know. I think you are absolutely right, and I'm just really thankful he's forgiven us for that one.
Yeah, I think he's very happy that both of you are part of the Royals family and the organization. Great job with the anthem. We hope to hear that maybe sometime soon at Kauffman Stadium, and I think behalf on all of Kansas City, they love having Ben and the Zobrist family a part of the Royals.
Thank you so much. We are honored and so excited to be there. It's been great.
It was great listening to you and catching up tonight. Guys, let's go back upstairs, and that's Juliana Zobrist. No surprise, just like her husband, all class.
And she didn't just perform the national anthem. She is a Christian performing artist, professional recording artist, so that is her profession, as baseball is Ben's profession.
Very tough to juggle the two to stay together. But you got to like their team unity 10 years ago, saying, hey, look, we got to do it together. We got to do it together. So I'm sure there's a ton of sacrifices in that family. And now with the two kids, and they're expecting another one, I imagine her singing will be put on hold for a little while now.
Cabrera's on with one out.
What a model couple and family they are. Just the love that came out of the Rays dugout and the fans here is really special.
James Loney with one on, one out. Well, it's the second time we've experienced that here. 2 years ago, when James Shields with the Royals returned here for the first time, they did the same thing. But because Shields wasn't pitching, they did the video tribute in the middle of the game. Zobrist is playing, so they did it before the game and prior to Juliana performing the national anthem, and then playing Ben's walk-up song as he came to the plate on the road. As we talked about when we first came on the air, I mean, people were just lined up to talk to me, and I'm sure you too. How's Ben Zobrist doing? You're so lucky to have him. Here's my favorite Ben Zobrist story. Oh, wait a minute. That's my second favorite Ben Zobrist story. My favorite Ben Zobrist story. And half were stories about something he had done in the community, something he'd done off the field. And, of course, he was a great player. That ball's going to go all the way down into the corner. And it sticks in the padding. It didn't give Rios the bounce he was hoping for. So Cabrera will score from first. And Loney drives him in to tie the game at 1.
Yeah, it was a breaking ball that hung, stayed up in the zone. Loney was able to pull it. And you're right, the 322 marker down there in right field. The ball hit and kicked towards home plate. And that allowed Cabrera to score from first. If he gets it cleanly off the wall, they probably would have held him at third base. But watch this kick. So it just kind of died, and he had to go a little bit extra to go get it.
Kevin Kiermaier takes a strike. He is hot at the moment. In his last 12 at-bats, he has 8 hits. Caught in left field by Orlando. And about an easy a double play as the Royals will get all year. So James Loney taking the Royals defense for granted as Orlando came out of nowhere and turns it into a double play.
Speed. Man, did he close on that ball. Nice play.
On the video board in between innings, they've been honoring the best mustaches in Major League history. And they've been superimposing mustaches on all the players up on the video board as they come up. Ben Zobrist hits a rocket to right field. That's over Nava's head. Zobrist digging for second and in with a leadoff double. And in his return to Tropicana Field, he is 2 for 2.
All right. All he's missing is the triple and the homer. And we still got a long way to go.
Juliana getting ready to visit with Todd Callis, who is with the Rays television network.
Boy, you throw one right down the middle of the plate to Zobrist. he's going to do something with it. He pounded that.
Lorenzo Cain singled his first time up. And we noticed was stretching and grabbing his left side. And even when he went to first base after the base hit, still looked like he wasn't 100% comfortable.
Well, if we saw it, so did Nick Kinney. So they probably all made sure, he's all right to go, or he wouldn't be back out there.
1-1.
Sliders away to righties. He'll throw changeups in there, but he's more comfortable with that pitch with runners in scoring position.
And then a slider taken for strike, 1-2.
See if Locaine can go back to right field now. There's a little inside move. See if he can have a little two-strike approach here. Anything away, he might try to flip it out there to right. Make it at least a productive out, and then maybe more.
Two and two.
There you go. Lorenzo Cain, he's got his share of hits to right. Better overall average you'll have by using the whole field.
Full count. Paulo Orlando last inning drove in Salvador Perez for the Royals run. And then James Loney got Cabrera to the plate in the bottom of the second to tie it. This is already the Royals' sixth batter with a runner in scoring position. We're in the third. And Cain takes a walk after being down in the count. First walk allowed by Erasmo Ramirez.
Yeah, it looks like Ramirez doing a little bit too much thinking. He knows that the Royals are a very dangerous offense, as his pitching coach probably told him before the game. Jim Hickey told me they're like a full court press in basketball. They're relentless, the Royals offense. He says any mistake turns into something great. They put the ball in play. They pressure. That was Jim Hickey, their pitching coach, telling me before the game, and he was telling me with some emotion. He was like, oh my gosh, I got to go in and talk to our pitchers about your offense. So that's what pitching coaches around the league are saying about the Royals offense. They're not worried about their power. They're not saying, oh, we got to keep the ball in the yard. We just got to figure out a way how to get them out, because they're dangerous. They put the ball in play. They got speed, infield hits. They're a tough team to pitch to.
A big out for Ramirez in the first inning was a strikeout against Hosmer. That was with 2 on 1 out. And now Hosmer bats with 2 on and nobody out.
And he's taken some cookies down the middle here his first 2 times up. Usually he's a little more aggressive early. He's going to get around to that changeup.
0-2. Still 0-2. Staying with the fastball.
Haas took a called third strike, looking with a runner in scoring position his first time up. Rasmo, with all the fastballs early in this count here, wants to eventually get to that out pitch, his changeup. That's the one he's been trying to get him away with.
He's late on that fastball, probably because of the changeup, right?
That's exactly right.
Doesn't want to be too quick.
He's trying to wait, but anything too close, he wants to be hacking. He doesn't want to get called out looking this time up.
Hits it very sharply to Cabrera, who bobbles, but because it was hit so hard, he still had time to turn the double play. Zobrist goes to third.
All right, he got the changeup, and he nailed it. Even though that was off and away, anything too close, he was being ready to hit it. And, you know, Eric, we saw what he can do to pitches that are that far off the plate in Boston. He goes that way with him. He's not afraid to stretch out, slap it to left, but that ball, he barreled it.
Morales with 2 on, 2 out in the first inning, grounded to first. And now foul off the left field line. Jeremy Guthrie is having a friendly competition with the ball boy down in the Royals bullpen. The last ground ball that went down there, the ball boy got there in front of Guthrie, so I guess it's tied at 1.
I like it.
Both games are tied at 1.
You got to find a way to amuse yourself. That Young's going, yep, 1-1 now.
Center field, deep. Kiermaier back. Kiermaier at the wall. Kendrys Morales with a 2-run home run, and the Royals lead 3-1.
Yeah, it hit that far catwalk as Kiermaier wasn't sure exactly what was going to happen here in the Arena Dome in Tropicana Field here. You just never know. You got to stay with the ball for sure, but that ball is hit high. I didn't know if it had enough to get out of the ballpark, but Kiermaier kept going back and drifting, and then next thing you know, we didn't see the ball come down over the fence.
Now, that hit the middle ring, and the same thing happened here last night with Minnesota and Tampa Bay. Miguel Sano hit one to left center field that hit that same middle ring, and they called that a double. So they're going to talk it over here and have a conversation and go over the ground rules. And now they're going to go look at it just to make sure. There are 4 rings. There's a very small ring that's, well, they're all helping support the roof. The top 2 rings, if it hits the ring, the ball is live and in play. So no matter where it hits, if the ball ricochets back into play, it's a live ball. Sano, I mean, that thing last night, I mean, that would have been a home run anywhere except for here. So he just kind of fell victim to the ground rules. And then there are the 2 rings below that.
But he hit
the one just above the lights, and then there's one right below the lights. So they're just going to go and make sure.
Yeah.
Sano hit that one where you just put the blue.
Okay, and they're saying that would have been way out of the ballpark and would have been a 2-run homer.
Right.
And probably would have given Minnesota the game.
So I think the umpires got it right. It hit the second ring. I said the middle. Well, the middle of the lower ones, the way up above. I mean, that one, I don't know if anybody's hit that one, but I think they just want to make sure, based on what happened last night, that it did hit the ring that they thought that it hit.
Just glad you didn't ask me to read the rules there, that whole page of stuff that it's only read here in this ballpark.
And they also, if you look in the corners of the rings, just to help the umpires out, whether the ball is live or if it hits one of the rings where it's an automatic home run, they help the umpires out. They have yellow stripes, they have yellow poles up there to help them tell whether it's a fair ball or a foul ball if it hits one of the rings. But there you go, those 4 support rings that help keep Tropicana Field inflated, but it creates for some very interesting ground rules.
You see that ball flying, he got a good piece of it, and obviously good enough to get over the fence. That would have been a homer for sure. And then it just hits the catwalk. That's the C ring. Automatic home run if it hits that. But you saw Kiermaier playing it. That's the right thing to do, because if it hits any of the other catwalks, they can play it, and if you catch it, the batter's out. I asked Brian Anderson, their television color commentator for the Rays, and I said, hey, BA, have you seen anybody catch a ball that's hit off the catwalk? And he says, no, we haven't seen him catch one. So it's really difficult for a fielder to go out there, and then once it's obstructed by the roof, you know, and it hits there, I mean, it's hard for a guy to catch it.
Let's bring in Joel.
Well, I went down to talk to the umpires before the game, and I said to Jeff Kellogg and his crew, okay, well, they had one that hit the ring last night, so it probably couldn't happen 2 nights in a row, right? And, of course, they gave me that look like, thanks for jinxing it. But all these umpires have seen this before. As a matter of fact, Brian O'Nora told me he was doing a game here once where it was the Twins, actually, and there's the home run. And let's take a look at last night, our Mazda game break. And so when we look at this one, a little bit different, guys, than what happened, because as Ryan described, there's the A ring, the B ring, the C ring, and the D ring. If it hits the A or the B and lands in fair territory, not lands in fair, but is hitting it within fair territory, it is a live ball, like Rex said. That's what ended up happening last night. The irony of it is any ball that's hit that high with that kind of projection would have been out if it didn't hit it, but that's what's ruled a double. Brian O'Nora was telling me that he was doing a game in the 9th inning where the Rays were losing to the Twins in the past. 2 outs, runners going, pop up, hits the ring, one of the first 2 rings, falls down in the infield, and they win on a walk-up pop-up in the infield. So you have to be alive at all times. Now, if that ball were to hit foul past those yellow lines that you just pointed out, hanging out in the air, no matter where it is, it's a foul ball, dead. They can't even field it, couldn't catch it in foul territory. But this one hitting the C or D rings, a home run.
Well, that one that Sano hit, that thing was still going up.
Yeah, did you see Sano's reaction? He knew he got all that. That was a homer. That's what a hitter, sometimes they know first. And when he hit it, he put his bat down and his head down, and he said, you know what? That's another homer, but only here.
Mike Moustakas, it's a pop foul, and that will land in the dugout. And even if it didn't land in the dugout, there was nobody near it because of the overshift over to the right.
Okay, watch Sano after he hits this ball last night. Watch his reaction.
Look at that ball. I mean, that ball's still going up.
That ball would have cleared the fence.
I think it would have hit the flag.
It might have been a 450-foot homer.
So it's a shame for Minnesota because they lost by 1 run. And a shame for everybody else wondering where that ball would have gone if it didn't hit that ring.
Could have been further even. We don't know.
3-2 on Moustakas. He popped out to the shortstop Cabrera his first time.
Well, if they didn't have the roof here, they wouldn't get many games in.
Moustakas walks with 2 down. When the Royals swept the Rays at Kauffman Stadium, there were many things that went right for the Royals and wrong for the Rays. But if you wanted to sum up the series with one statistic, it would be 2-out runs, and the Royals have scored all 3 of their runs tonight with 2 outs. That series at Kauffman Stadium, the Royals scored 20 runs with 2 outs. 20. The Rays scored 2 runs with 2 outs. The Royals have been clutch all year with 2 outs, but that was on display bigger than ever in the Royals Rays series at Kauffman Stadium.
No wonder Jim Hickey was telling me that with a panic.
No balls and 2 strikes on Sal. You scored 20 runs in a 4-game series total. You're happy with that, but 20 of 33 runs with 2 outs.
You just can't finish them off. You can, but it's hard.
A drop near the Rays bullpen. Still 0-2 on Salvi. He singled to right center in the 2nd inning and scored the Royals' first run. That ball's hit well to left field, but Sizemore is there. And that's the inning. The Rays thought they had a big double play to turn the inning around, but Kendrys Morales saves the inning for the Royals with a long home run to center field, and the Royals lead 3-1. Rapid pickup at delivery.panerabread.com. By Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Ram, find your summer of fun with great deals at the Ram Summer Clearance Event. Kendrys Morales with his 15th home run, and now has driven in 89 as Edinson Volquez pitches with a 3-1 lead. Royals have scored all of their runs with 2 outs. Rene Rivera, the Rays catcher and number 9 hitter, leads off.
Royals are 2 hitters away from their second time completely through the lineup twice now. And here it is. Rene Rivera, he's the 9th hitter for the Rays. They're just going through their first time. So going to be some extra at-bats for the Royals tonight.
Let's hit well to center. Kane back to the track at the wall, makes the play. Royals think they have the best center fielder in the league. The Rays think they have the best center fielder in the league. Should be a lot of fun watching those two running around this weekend.
Yep. 92 caught a little bit too much of the plate for Volquez, but there it is. Pitch to that defense, and you get outs. We already saw Paulo Orlando in that last inning hustle in on a ball that Loney thought was going to fall. Great closing speed, caught it and doubled him up.
One and one to Grady Sizemore. He was down 1-2 in the first inning and reached with a walk. One and two. You don't hear this very often anymore, and pretty soon you won't hear it at all. But Grady Sizemore was drafted by the Montreal Expos.
Wow.
Down on strikes, and Volquez has 3. If you're a Royals fan and looking to attend the Kansas City Irish Fest, get your tickets today for Irish Heritage Night at Kauffman Stadium. That's coming up on Wednesday, starting at just $22. This special ticket package gets you both a game ticket to watch the Royals and the Tigers, and then a single-day admission to the Kansas City Irish Fest the following weekend. Long homestand coming up after the series in Tampa Bay. Here's Nava. He singled his first time up. Someday they're going to write a movie about Daniel Nava's life. 1 ball, 1 strike. And one of the scenes from that movie will be April 20th of 2013. A 3-run home run in the 8th inning to give Boston the lead, and they would win the game. That was their first game in Boston since the marathon bombings. Royals then swept a day-night doubleheader the next day, so both teams got what they wanted.
Yeah, they did. Talking with him before the game about that, he said when they landed like the Royals did, they shut all their cell phones off in Boston when they got there, because there was rumors that there was some more bombs around the area and that they could be detonated by a cell phone, and so they shut all the cell phones off. And Daniel Nava's wife had told him that day she was going to go down to Boylston Street and do some shopping. So the fact that he couldn't talk to his wife, he says our phones didn't work, made us all really nervous about our families and what was going on there. So it was a very sad ordeal that went on there.
Hit hard to right field, and 1 hop to Alex Rios. Well, we were involved in the lockdown, remember?
Yep. So we landed, got there at the same time they did, and we got into the hotel before they shut the hotel down. And then there's Wolf Blitzer on the corner, and whenever you see that guy, you know there's problems.
It's probably not something he has on his resume.
Right.
But Neil Diamond on his
So good.
I'm sure they wish they could have had a do-over there. They did not have the karaoke version of Sweet Caroline, so Neil Diamond was trying to sing over himself, but the thought was there. Remember, we all were thinking, this is 2013, you can't download a karaoke version of Sweet Caroline so Neil Diamond could sing live to it, but there was Neil competing with Neil.
No, those are some of the games that you never forget.
Broken bat and a base hit for Longoria. Now the Rays are trying to put something together with 2 outs. Back-to-back singles. So, just to finish the thought on that weekend in Boston, to be glued to the TV set and hear that something was going on in the area where they were searching for the suspects, and then to hear those same sirens go buzzing right by the hotel. I mean, it was being in another world.
Nobody will ever forget.
Walk by Sal. Jaso with 2 on 2 out. Volquez got him on a ground ball to Hosmer to end the first inning, and now hoping to get him a ground ball to end this inning. Rays are trying to answer the Royals in this inning like they did last inning. Got the call. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Good call. That ball started on the outer half of the plate and ended up on the inside part.
Does his personality match his hairdo?
You know, I would say yes. I just had some small conversations with him, so I don't really know his personality that well, but he had a big smile on his face, and he was well spoken and happy that I remembered how hot he was in Kansas City. He just broke out into a huge grin, and he goes, "No, I wish I was that hot."
He's got that very free-spirited look to him.
Tomorrow I'll ask him about the dreads.
No better place to spend your Friday nights than at Kauffman Stadium. Buck Night, presented by Visit KC, is coming up. $1 hot dogs and peanuts. And that's a week from tonight with the Chicago White Sox at Kauffman Stadium. 2-2. Jaso, the first time he was with the Rays, he was here, drafted by the Rays, and then bounced around and came back. But Joe Madden used to lead him off. He was a high on base percentage guy. The Rays didn't have a true leadoff hitter, so, and at the time he was catching. Very few catchers who lead off.
Oh,
right where Volquez and Perez wanted it.
What was that? That was a beautiful pitch there. It surprised everyone except for Salvi. He knew it was coming. Oh, man.
And we'll do it again. Jaso no longer catches. He is, if he's not the DH, he plays the outfield. He was behind the plate a few years ago in Seattle when Felix Hernandez threw a perfect game. Runners go again, and Jaso fouls it off of Sal's glove.
Well, he's really working Volquez here. Volquez has thrown a couple of sliders, look like they were up in the zone, and he's been fouling those off. He took a good rip at that ball down. Maybe he comes back with that fastball in the inner half again.
Runners go, and it's popped up. Moustakas goes out. Much easier play for Orlando. And he dropped it. 1 run scores to make it 3-2. This isn't typically a place where you lose the ball up against the roof, but it appears that Paulo lost sight of it for a few moments.
Well, he came in and he ran too far in. He's trying to judge this ball, and Volquez executed the fastball, and you could see where he ran too far in, and he just couldn't glove it. And he wants to get his glove up. Whenever you try to catch a ball down like that, it's tough, and it landed right in his glove and popped out. Too bad.
Because of all the catwalks we told you about, and the support beams and the cables and the speakers, this is not like the Metrodome, the old Metrodome in Minneapolis. There are a lot of things where you can pick up the baseball, the ball going across a cable or a catwalk, whereas the Metrodome is basically just all white. But it does happen on occasion here. Now Forsythe grounds it to Escobar. His throw just in time. And will the Rays, well, they don't have the option. They can argue and they can ask, but the Rays have already lost their challenge. Kevin Cash goes sprinting out to argue with Brian Onora. It's like going back in time. An umpire and a manager arguing and an ejection.
I liked it.
Remember those days? Coach is now acting manager after Kevin Cash was ejected, and it appears that Cash was justified in arguing that play, and that doesn't happen very often today with replay, where a challenge is burned that early. And so the Rays feel like that, you know, they were cheated, I'm sure, because that would have scored a run. But on the other hand, they used their challenge on a play that you and I are both surprised they did use it on, so there was no opportunity to challenge, which just cost them a run.
You're right. You know, that's why early in the game you better make 100% sure you're right, or you don't have any leverage the rest of the game. However, Cash could have went out there, and if he would have been a gentleman about it, saying, hey, can you guys look at that and make it an umpire's review. But when he went out there and was a little bit animated, Onora threw him out. So see, before he even gets out there, he's already waving his arms, and you know, and he just snapped is what he did. He sometimes managers, you know, they'll watch it, and you know, being beat down by the Royals at our place, who beat him 4 straight, he's on edge. Play cost him a run.
And the Rays have struggled lately. Trying to do something to get his guys fired up. Paulo Orlando with 2 down in the second inning. Singled in Salvador Perez for the Royals' first run. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
So you can't ask the umpires to review it until the 7th inning or later. I just found that out. So Cash just gave him his money's worth. Cash money.
Second strikeout for Erasmo Ramirez. 2 down in the 4th inning. Our University of Kansas hospital injury report. We continue to get good news from AAA Omaha. Last night, Alex Gordon went 3 for 5 with a double and an RBI, and now in 5 games, he's hitting .400 with a .600 slugging percentage. And tonight for the Storm Chasers, so far he is 1 for 1 with a single.
Oh, and I'll tell you, this is just wonderful news on Alex.
Escobar is flied to left and grounded out to third. So now it's the slider that's given the Royals a bad time. Ramirez strikes out 2 in a 1-2-3 top of the 4th inning, and Volquez is right back to work. The Rays, they've been answering the Royals tonight, and with a close call that went the Royals' way in the bottom of the 3rd inning, the Royals still have the lead. Otherwise the Rays would have tied it, but the Rays burned their challenge in the 1st inning and now cannot ask the umpires to review a play until the 7th inning. And I believe, in chatting with Bill Duplessis, the Royals replay coordinator, that no requests all of last year from the 7th inning on were turned down. So it's almost like having an extra challenge. but you have to wait until the 7th inning. And it makes sense. I mean, with the technology today, it is one way for the umpires to be off the hook for a bad call. And if somebody comes out and says, hey, take another look at it, and you say no, well, then there's a possibility of not only did you get the call wrong, but you denied the opportunity to get it corrected. So the umpires figured that out very quickly last year, that they would be best to say yes to all of those requests. Kane makes a play. So Cabrera is 1 for 2, 1 down in the 4th inning. Royals used their challenge and kept it. The Rays used theirs, and the call was denied. And so they would have used it here, and if they had, a run would have scored, and we'd be tied at 3. Loney, he doubled in a run in the 2nd inning.
That long battle to end last inning against Jaso. He used his fastball after Jaso fouled off 8 to 10 pitches. And Volquez looks like now he's throwing more fastballs earlier in the count. Because that fastball, that's an underrated pitch. I mean, it works. There's so many variations you can throw, especially Volquez with his 2-seam and 4-seam fastballs. Those are good pitches. Change up work there.
Two and two. Been a grind so far for Volquez. 66 pitches with 1 out in the 4th inning, and he had kind of a grinding like start against the Rays last month. So they presented him with some tough outs and some longer innings. There's Kane again. He's handled both fly balls in the 4th inning. 2 down. Support the arts and come out to Kauffman Stadium next Saturday for Arts Night. Pre-game festivities will take place in the Outfield Experience, featuring an array of interactive booths from the local art scene. A live chalk artist creating a Royals-inspired mural will be there, and live music from local group Victor and Penny. Purchase of this discounted ticket package provides a $5 donation to the Arts KC Fund. Again, that's next Saturday, September 5th. Kiermaier lined into a double play first time up. Two and one. That's hit right to Orlando in left field, and that's the inning. 3 up, 3 down for Volquez for the first time tonight. The Royals lead 3-2 at the end of 4. for him, and in his return, he is 2 for 2 with a run scored and hugs all over the place before the game. His wife, Juliana, performed the national anthem. Had a great video tribute to him before the first pitch, and was named to the Franchise 4. A fan vote based theme this year. All 30 teams having their fans vote for the best 4 players in franchise history. And then at the All-Star game, they had the 4 greatest living players from any organization. It's up the left field line and foul. The Rays have been in existence since 1998, so not as deep of a pool as it would be for another organization, and yet his impact here, especially when you consider where he came from. Change up, and that's the 4th strikeout for Erasmo Ramirez. Ben Zobrist, as we're learning more and more about him, talking with some Rays people today. The Rays thought he'd be a Double-A shortstop, maybe a Triple-A shortstop. He came over in a trade with the Astros, a deal that sent Aubrey Huff to Houston, and just one of those guys that continued to perform, so they moved him up. Got to Triple-A. The Rays were in the middle of 10 consecutive losing seasons when they first joined the league in 1998, and didn't think they'd be very good in 2007. Julio Lugo was gone, and so they needed a shortstop, and they gave the job to Zobrist on opening day in 2007, and he failed miserably, so they had to send him back down to the minor leagues. It looked like that might have been his last shot to be an everyday player in the big leagues. But Joe Madden, the forward thinker, saw Ben Zobrist as a super utility type player, and that was the role that was given to him in spring training 2008. Man, you talk about a career changer. He's kind of the model now for that type of a player.
He is, but you know, you've got to hit to be an everyday player, and the fact that he hits on both sides of the plate and he's good at it kept him in there. You're going to find a place for him to play, and his athleticism, Madden saw it.
That is a foul ball by inches.
Man, that looked like that was fair. He raked that one. Now, I don't believe there's chalk down the line. I think it's painted on the artificial surface in case there was any. But this ball, let's see. Oh, there you go. Just missed. Ground up tires and tennis shoe soles, they say, is what that stuff is that you see bouncing up off the turf to soften it.
Three balls, 2 strikes. No swing, and Kane is on with 1 out on a walk. That's number 3 allowed by Ramirez. You were around Joe Madden in Anaheim, and not only a very creative mind, but also a great motivator. And just to finish the Ben Zobrist story, when he came to spring training in 2008, Joe Madden said, "I want you to move around the field and play different positions." And I guess Zobrist, who was a team guy at the same time, was a bit reluctant. But then Joe Madden says, "We see you as a 10-year major leaguer," and that changed everything.
Thank you, Skip.
to this. Teams bringing in a lefty to face him. Royals on the road for just 3, and then they return back to Kauffman Stadium and begin a homestand on Tuesday. If you're on the road and want to stay connected to the Royals, subscribe to MLB.TV Premium for live or on demand on over 400 devices. That includes real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. This is Xavier Cedeno on for the 52nd time. And he'll get Hosmer with Kane at first and 1 out.
Hosmer's going to see fastball, curveball. Fastball's not overpowering, 87 to 92. Veteran lefty. He's pitched for the Astros, the Nationals, and now the Rays. Curveballs away, typically. That was in.
The Rays have been going to their bullpen very early all year. The Rays bullpen has pitched more innings than any other team in the American League. Kiermaier in center field. Kane is halfway. 2 down.
Number 25.
They have thrown the most innings. They also have the most saves. Their starters have the fewest quality starts. So Kevin Cash, as the game continues to evolve, goes to the fresh arm in the pen much sooner than most teams. Two down. Kendrys Morales at the plate. Royals lead 3-2. They've scored all 3 runs with 2 outs. Orlando drove in a run with 2 down in the 2nd inning, and then Kendrys Morales hit a 2-run home run with 2 down in the 3rd. Yikes.
Yep. Make a mistake here, it's going to get hit. Cedeno keeping an eye on Lorenzo Cain because he's got 24 steals. He's been caught 4 times.
Cain reads both of those moves.
Heavy to pull. The Rays are playing Morales on the left side. 3 guys over there thinking he's going to pull it. And he might.
One ball, 1 strike.
He's got a changeup. He might use that a little bit more against right-handed batters.
Good pitch. 1-2.
See when that started out, that ball on the release point started out on the outer half of the plate. It had really good downward angle and a good bite to the inner half.
Wide open right side, and it becomes a difficult play for Forsythe, and in trying to hurry, did not get the grip.
Give him a hit. Heck, they were all swung over to the left side. There was nobody even on the right side. Look at that. There's nobody out there. Morales almost got it where he wanted. If he just would have hit it with a little bit more down on the ball, it would have went through cleanly, but That is a base hit. Lost it in the transfer.
And now the Royals' hottest hitter with 2 on, 2 out. The infield shifts all the way over to the right now. So the left side is wide open for Mike Moustakas, who has been going to left a lot more the past week. Good play by Cedeno, and he almost threw it away. A walk and a single, and the Royals strand 2 in the top of the 5th. Young ones tweeting out their thoughts on tonight's game, which has been a grind for both pitchers. A lot of base runners, and we've had 9 runners left on base already as the Rays come up in the bottom of the 5th inning. Rene Rivera leads off against Volquez. Rivera lined to deep center first time up. At one time was Edinson Volquez catcher with the Padres. Pedro Grifol, as a scout with the Seattle Mariners, signed Rene Rivera. And I asked Pedro about that. He said, a big smile on his face. He said, yep, that was the first time that I recommended a player and went through the entire negotiation. He says, I negotiated the whole deal. He had a variety of roles with Seattle, but for a while was a catcher. And then I learned from him while we were chatting that J.P. Arancibia, who is now the Rays' backup catcher, that Pedro was responsible for drafting him too out of high school. He then went on to the University of Tennessee and signed with Toronto, but Pedro was a scout, a very good college catcher here in the state of Florida, at Florida State. So the Mariners would ask him to evaluate catchers, and that was his very first sign, Rene Rivera. 4th strikeout for Edinson Volquez. 1 down in the bottom of the 5th.
Salvi does a nice job of picking this up now. Tagged him because it did look like it skipped on the ground, and he did not foul it off.
Sizemore has walked and struck out.
You know, that scouting business is really something. You know, learning more about it, being in it. I don't know anything about that side of the business at all. You know, playing and broadcasting, I haven't had a chance to explore that. But man, no wonder these scouts, they sign a guy and they follow him, and then they're friends for life, basically. You know, they always stay attached to that player. And last night I had the opportunity to introduce my wife to Art Stewart. I said, ladies, this is the greatest scout that ever lived.
Your wife or your wives?
Well, Jennifer had a friend with her.
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
you said ladies.
Well, the ladies.
Man.
Right, no, I'm not going that good.
Okay, all right. I'm not going that good. All right, I just want to clarify.
No, but I was excited to introduce him to Art, and all the scouting he's done and all the years he's done. It's been amazing to read about him and learn more about him and what he's done, and by reading his book, helped me learn a lot about what he did with the Royals and the scouting and all the players.
Kane will make the play on Sizemore, 2 down. Coming up a week from Sunday, we will celebrate the career of Mike Sweeney with a limited edition Royals Hall of Fame bobblehead sponsored by Commerce Bank. The first 10,000 fans through the gates receive this piece of Royals history, the 26th inductee into the Royals Hall of Fame. It's a day game, and the gates will open at 11:30. It's a game with the Royals and the White Sox, September 6th. 2 down to Daniel Nava. He has singled twice and scored one of the Rays runs. He scored when Paulo Orlando dropped a fly ball in left field, which it appeared that he lost it for a moment up against the Teflon roof.
He's a good fastball hitter. He waits for that one that he can handle, and he likes to pull it. So fastball count, you would think. We'll see if Volquez gives him one. Ooh.
And Escobar almost got to it. Daniel Nava is 3 for 3.
Two 2-0. He knew what was coming, and there it was right before him on a tee. Short and compact. Escobar playing to him a slight pull, but this hit so hard there's no way Escobar could get to it.
So it brings Evan Longoria up with a man on, 2 down. Longoria had a broken bat single to left in the 3rd inning, and Volquez struck him out in the 1st. Jammed him, and Zobrist makes the play, and that ends the inning. So Volquez has given up 2 runs in 5 innings, and the Royals lead 3-2. Fifth home run of the year into the water, and the Royals took 3 out of 4 from the Orioles. Paulo will eventually come up in our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is Bernadette Hernandez from Kansas City, Missouri. And if the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Bernadette will win $100. We've had a winner in 5 of the last 7 games. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Bernadette will win $25 grand from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
It's a pretty good chance we're giving some more money away in this inning, the way it's been going.
Matt Andriese is the third Rays pitcher, so he'll get Perez, Rios, and Orlando. Salvi going the other way again and going to be caught by Nava as that ball stayed up. Well, Salvi's 1 for 3, but his 2 outs are lineouts to the outfield.
Number 15, Alex Rios.
Rios is fouled out to first and grounded out to short, carrying an 8-game hitting streak into the game.
Andriese has a kind of a funky delivery. He kind of slings that arm all the way back, and that ball's on you. He'll go 90 to mid-90s with that fastball. Likes to cut it, curve, change, and split finger. Low 3/4 arm slot. Throws across his body. That adds some deception, especially to righties.
Vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com, and you'll be entered to win a majestic prize pack from Rally House. And for Alex Rios, this month has included an 8-game hitting streak. And in the 8 games leading up to tonight, hitting .483. Breaking ball down. He did not make contact. Rivera tags him out. 2 away.
Number 16, Orlando.
And that brings up Paulo Orlando. Paulo with 2 down in the second inning. Single to right, scoring Salvador Perez. So he is 1 for 2.
Well, we cannot forget that Paulo became the first player in Major League history to collect 5 triples in his first 7 big league games. And he hasn't hit a triple since April 20th. How about that?
He was still the league leader in triples a few weeks after he was sent to the minor leagues.
He was. That was amazing. We were coming out of our seats, remember? That was exciting. Andre's got a nice hook. But you know that, from what I know, there's 2 Royals personnel in that dugout that are the first and only ones to ever do it. Dave Ireland's the other one. Remember, hitting a home run in his first time up, and his first batter he ever faced, he gave up a home run.
Two and two.
And I'm surprised to see Andrus the pitcher, his numbers against right-handed batters. .262, 3 homers. Man, the way how tough he looks on righties, you'd think they're hitting under 200 off of this guy.
That big hard curveball.
Oh man, and he throws across his body. It starts right out at the hitter.
Curveball stayed up. Cabrera goes to the middle, and Andrews faces 3 and retires 3. To the bottom of the 6th, Royals lead 3-2. Bottom of the 6th inning, John Jaso, Logan Forsythe, and Asdrubal Cabrera against Edinson Volquez. 1 pitch and 1 out. It's a full day of baseball tomorrow on Fox Sports Kansas City and Fox Sports 1. The Royals continue their series with the Rays, starting at 4:30 with pregame coverage here on Fox Sports Kansas City. Fox Sports 1 has the Red Sox and Mets, followed by the Yankees and Braves. Coverage there begins at 2:30. It's also streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Chris Medlin will make his second start. Go up against Jake Odorizzi, the former Royal. Then a game here Sunday afternoon, and then we head back home. 9 games with Detroit and Chicago and Minnesota coming to Kauffman Stadium. After we leave here Sunday, we are down to 2 homestands and 2 road trips. And then the regular season comes to a close.
Wow. It's gone fast, especially as good as our boys have been playing. It makes the season go quicker. But also helps the fans in Kansas City, and it gives them something to look forward to at the end of their hard work day.
And now 3-pitch strikeout. Volquez gets Logan Forsythe. 5 for Volquez, and his second strikeout against Forsythe. Now he is not bashful about throwing his changeup to a right-hand batter. It's just as effective to righties as it is lefties, in contrast to Erasmo Ramirez, who uses it mostly against left-hand batters.
Yeah, he uses that slider, and sometimes it hangs and righties hit it. So I don't understand it. Thought he would use more against righties tonight, but he's out of the game.
Fouled back by Asdrubal Cabrera. 1 for 2 with a run scored. 90 pitches for Volquez. On one hand, that sounds like a lot, but on the other hand, he was on a pace of about 20 pitches per inning for the first 3, so he's tightened that up. The Rays only have 1 base runner since the 3rd inning. And now he's 1-2 on Cabrera.
Cabrera, obviously, he wanted that one. After swinging at that, he barked out something. He wasn't happy he missed it. 3rd inning was taxing. 24 innings or 24 pitches for Volquez.
Grounded, diving play, Zobrist on a familiar turf and gets Cabrera.
Saving his pitcher and his pitch count, Zobrist. It's that man. The man from Zobrist. Beautiful play.
U-verse high-speed internet. The U-verse revolves around you. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. By your Midwest Ford dealers, visit yourmidwestforddealers.com. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, right stuff, low price every day. Cetus Escobar leads off the 7th inning against Matt Andriese, who came on in the 6th and retired the Royals' lower 3rd with 1 strikeout. The combined 5 runs were all scored in the first 3 innings, and now no runs in the last 3 innings. Andriese gets his 2nd strikeout. Escobar is 0 for 4 so far tonight. And that'll bring up Ben Zobrist, and we go to Joel.
All right, Ryan, we have certainly spent the night talking about the return of Ben Zobrist. His wife, Juliana, was telling me before that they walked in, and the kids right away walked in. Everybody knew them. The ushers, welcome back. And for Ben, that was true of the players on the other side, too. So well respected by the Rays that were there when he was here. Talking to Jake Odorizzi today, he said he was the ultimate teammate. He said, when I got traded over from the Royals to the Rays, it was Ben Zobrist there to make sure I was okay. He's going to be robbed by his friend Evan Longoria. But Jake saying he wanted to see if I was all right. He was always checking in on me. He was the one that said, if you need anything ever, give me a call. There's a reason why Ben Zobrist is so respected. He came in, by the way, after making that great play to end the last inning, and Rusty tongue-in-cheek says, Zobrist, my goodness, can you do something today?
Well, what he's done so far is pick up 2 hits, score a run, and then Just made that sliding play on the turf to get Asdrubal Cabrera for the final out of the 6th inning.
And he would have had his 3rd knock had Longoria not played him so well. Andriese looks really good. He is on tonight. He is hitting his spots.
0-2 to Kane. Still 0-2.
How about that?
How about that?
Yeah. That's the Raleigh fingers look.
They are saluting mustaches. The Salvador Dali Museum is not far from Tropicana Field. And Dali had one of those mustaches like Lorenzo Cain. And that's the connection to the promotion here tonight. Fans getting a mustache upon entering. Kiermaier takes care of Kane. That's the inning. 2 perfect innings for Matt Andriese. Stretch time in St. Pete. Volquez and the Royals lead 3-2. DraftKings shows us the players to watch, and so far Mike Moustakas on that list, 0 for 2 of the walk, but you can't blame anyone for putting Moustakas on the list of players to watch the way he's been going. Go to DraftKings.com, enter the promo code BRoyal to play daily fantasy baseball for free. Edinson Volquez, with the Royals just starting to get going in the bullpen, he's going to try and give the Royals 7. James Loney, Kevin Kiermaier, and Rene Rivera, with Volquez at 93 pitches. He has retired 10 of the last 11 Rays. Really made him work in the first 3 innings. The Rays scored 2 runs in the first 3, and Volquez was just under 60 pitches, so about 20 pitches per inning. But the Rays have dried up since then, and it all goes to that play at first base that would have tied the game if the Rays still had a challenge. Their manager Kevin Cash was ejected. That was the final out of the third inning, and the Rays have had one runner since then. I would imagine Kevin Cash was hoping that that might fire up the club.
Well, Volquez is making it hard for them to get fired up on offense because he's executing his pitches. He's got a good tempo tonight. His fastball's looking good. He's bringing in his changeup a lot more. He's throwing strikes, and man, if he can get Ned 7 innings, I'm sure Ned will be thrilled. And he's done a good job. Steady Eddie.
Right to Moustakas as if he was playing catch. Just in case, Franklin Morales warms up in the Royals bullpen. .97 pitches for Volquez as he pitches to Kevin Kiermaier. Kiermaier has flied to left field twice. In the second inning, he lined to Orlando in left field. And Loney, the runner at second, thought the ball was going to drop, and he took off for the plate, and the Royals doubled him up. There's a very good pitch to Kiermaier. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I wonder why they don't have a mustache on Kiermaier out there on their board. All players they've had him.
Slapped out to Escobar. Kiermaier runs well, and so it's close, but out, 2 down. So long innings in the first and third innings, but no more than 13 pitches per inning since then, and now he's set down 12 of the last 13.
Gotta like the work you're seeing from Volquez all season long. You can count on him. He's trustworthy. You know what you're getting, and hitters do too, but they have a hard time hitting when you have all that kind of movement.
Some people wondered how in the world can the Royals win the Central Division without James Shields. And most people thought the Edinson Volquez sign was a nice one, but yeah, you know, good for them. Well, here we are, the best record in the American League, and it's Edinson Volquez who leads the team in wins, starts, innings, strikeouts, and quality starts. Good pitch over the outside, 2-1.
Steady Eddie, and look at that, 94. He's got some good velocity on that 4-seamer, 2-seamer movement, curveball, downward action, changeups down and in on righties and way up lefties.
Johnny Cueto, you know he can't wait to get back out on the mound after his last 2 starts. He'll have to wait until the next homestand. He'll be pitching against the Tigers. Keeping a close eye on his buddy Volquez. Rivera will walk. Sizemore, a left-hand batter, is coming up. Morales looks like he's ready. And Ned's going to come out, and Volquez slapped his glove. I think he realized That was his last chance to give the Royals 7 innings tonight.
I went with his changeup, 3-2. That's proper. See how they fumbled and dropped the ball? Volquez looked at Ned and apologized. I like it. Good etiquette. For Ned, but look, they're messing around. Salvi's got the ball. Okay, he went to put in his glove. He drops the ball right here, right as the manager walks up. Okay, look, I'm sorry. Salvi dropped it. Look, gets it back in his hand, hands it to the manager. That's respect and good etiquette. Like I said, that's good to see that. Because lots of times that manager comes out, he's not in the greatest of mood, although Ned lately's been in a great mood, and they always expect a proper exchange from the pitcher to the manager.
This is Brandon Guyer batting for Grady Sizemore.
Man, look at those numbers. Pinch hitting. That's 9 for 31 with a pinch hit homer. That'll keep you on a roster somewhere. If you can pinch hit like that off the bench. Anything over 250 is good.
You know, I was talking about Shields and Volquez, and I had Dave Holtzman look this up. I said, where was Shields at this point last year for the Royals? How about this, Hud? James Shields, after 27 starts last year, was 12-6 with a 3.28.
Okay.
If the Royals hang on, Volquez will be 12-7 with a 3.27.
Wow.
Almost identical.
There you go.
Ball comes loose in the Royals bullpen. So again, Shields, after 27 starts, 12-6, 3.28. Volquez, 12-7, 3.27.
That's amazing. Way to go. That's exhaustive research there. Thank you.
The one difference, it's not a huge difference, but you know, Shields would pitch a little deeper, and he pitched about 12 more innings to this point than Volquez. But he has virtually been what James Shields was to the Royals last year to this point.
And you know, we see him leaning on the rail. Ouch. And Volquez, you know, he's the same before games, after games, always. He's always jovial, has a nice disposition about him.
Dave Island's going to go out and chat with Morales. Nava, a switch hitter, moving over to the right side. And Morales has been effective against lefties and righties. Luke Hochevar is warming up behind him. 3 singles, a run scored, all of that as a left-hand batter. So they could bring in Hochevar right here, but I think they want Nava to bat right-handed.
He's running for Rivera. Number 1, Tim Beckham.
Tim Beckham is going to run for Rene Rivera.
Sure, Dave Island had something along the lines of telling Morales, look, now this is a big part of the game right here. Use that defense. Don't try to overthrow. Keep the ball down. Make him hit it at somebody. You're right about that. Keeping him on get him on the right side. He's been raking. From the left side, 3 for 3. Morales fastball, slider, curve, and change. He has all those pitches, but we mainly just see him with his fastball, slider, curve.
Two 2-0. Longoria waits on deck. So this is the man the Royals want to force to put the ball in play right here. Nava in his career is 70 points better from the other side of the plate. 282 as a left-hand batter, 212 as a right-hand batter. Up the middle, Zobrist is there. He'll flip, close, but out. So Geyer is cut down. Volquez and Morales combined for a scoreless bottom of the 7th inning, and the Royals still lead 3-2.
Us around the league, and we see Toronto beating Detroit, LA right now trailing Cleveland, New York, all over Atlanta, and Minnesota shutting out Houston. Our Mazda game break takes us to Toronto. Home run number 35 on the year for Josh Donaldson. I think he got all of it. That one up the upper deck there as the Blue Jays win it. Coming up after the game, we'll be breaking it all down on Boulevard Royals Live. Always an adventure here in St. Petersburg with the rings and the lights. You know, guys, this place is so unique. I know Rusty Kuntz has told me before that unlike most parks, there are multiple levels of light. So we saw that one ball that fell through in the outfield before. Usually you see it go up and you find it at the top and it comes back down and you have it. But here it gets through that first ring and then it goes to the next ring as you're trying to identify it, and then it comes back through those two sets of lights again. So we'll talk about that, the interesting home run, and much more coming up.
Thank you, Joel. Brandon Geyer remains in the game in left field. He batted for Sizemore. Hosmer against Matt Andriese, and J.P. Arancibia takes over behind the plate as the Rays ran for catcher Rene Rivera in the 7th inning. Andriese has pitched 2 perfect innings. Two balls, 2 strikes. Mike Jerschele taking the lineup card to the umpires, and of course they go over the ground rules. They didn't have much time. You know, they're trying to speed the games up. So there you go. You got that, Jersh? Mike Jerschele bobblehead night. Outside, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot to talk about here in this yard. Look at them. They're going over everything. Look at the Rays coach. Oh, they're not even talking to me. Look at it. They're just saying, huh? Nice talking to you guys. They're just blowing him off.
He's the best, man, isn't he?
Yeah. He's well deserving of that third base coaching box. Long time minor league manager.
Hosmer takes a leadoff walk. That's the first man to reach against Andriese. So a man on for Kendrys Morales, who turns in our Jeep drive of the game as we go back to the 3rd inning with 1 on and 2 out.
Yeah, you can tell by the way he hit it as he looked away. He knew he got a good part of that ball. And it hit off the catwalk. Had to review it. Home run. 15th.
Very high from Andriese. '89 runs driven in for Kendrys Morales. His career high is 108. And that's when he was a finalist for the American League MVP in 2009. 34 home runs, 43 doubles, and 108 driven in. And then the next year he was on his way to another season like that when he broke his ankle. The interesting thing about that great '09 season, the Angels, and correct me if I'm wrong, Hud, you were there, they had acquired Mark Teixeira in a trade to play first base, and Morales wasn't an everyday player, and they tried to re-sign Teixeira. He went to the Yankees, and so that's how Morales got his chance, and made the most of that opportunity. Andrews strikes out his third, and there's one out in the 8th inning.
Yeah.
He didn't quite come around right away like the Angels thought, right?
No, well, heck, you know what? It was a career-ending injury.
No, I mean, before the MVP season, he was with the Angels in 06, 07, and 08, and didn't quite set the world on fire.
No, you know what? He was kind of just feeling his way around and didn't really have the confidence until he stayed in there long enough and realized he could be a dominant hitter. But outside of his talent and his ability, and obviously Dayton Moore knew that he had this type of production in him, he's always been very happy. Always a happy guy, you know, smile on his face. So he's a great fit in any clubhouse, especially the Royals, with all that energy they got in there. And he's fed off of that here. He's told me he loves it.
One and one on Moustakas.
Somebody's got to get a hit off this guy. Andrews has been good. Man, is he hitting his spots? That backdoor curveball, he's working on them lefties. Good zip on his fastball.
2-1.
Curveball right there's been a good pitch there. Might just try that one again if you got Moose to swing at that four-seamer up. But he better be careful.
That's where the game has changed.
He's going to try to hook it.
I'm not going to say it's changed for the worse. It's not the old crusty, the game has changed, but for a long time, if you threw a fastball by a guy, I mean, if you're a hitter, you could just guarantee in your mind you're going to get that again until you prove you can do something with it. Now it seems like it's more toward trying to fool the hitter, play mind games instead of arm games. They went back to the fastball. And Kiermaier will take care of it. 2 down. And as promised earlier in the game, we have the T-Mobile Strong Fan photo of the game sent in by Jason. You can send in your Data Strong Fan photo at KC Data Strong Fan. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Leadoff walk to Hosmer, and he's still standing at first with 2 down. Salvador Perez has swung the bat well tonight. He is 1 for 3. He singled and scored in the 2nd inning, and since then he has lined out to left and lined out to right. So he's hit the ball hard 3 times. Reaching. Geyer in left field will bring it down, and that's the inning. Kelvin Herrera comes on for the bottom of the 8th, and the Rays have the middle of the order coming up in a 1-run game. His effort now handing it off to the bullpen, hoping to be 5-0. Here are the sprint cuts of the game against Volquez tonight.
Well, Edison knows that he can pitch to that defense. They can run balls down, and they can also pick it and grin. Got good arms. Salvi behind that plate helping him out. Nice job. They're bantering back and forth there, trying to get themselves together there. Yep.
Kelvin Herrera with Longoria, Jaso, and Forsythe coming up. And a chop out to Escobar. He'll throw on the run high, but Hosmer, who is so smooth when he stretches into foul territory, is there for the out.
Yep, Hosmer showing off his footwork. You got to have good feet to do this. Now he does it all the time, but you know he's able to adjust his feet on that base, back off, make the play. And usually when he does that play, that ball's getting close to the runner, so it's not exactly an easy play for Haas. He's got to be able to catch it with the timing involved with the hitter running by the base. It's not easy.
Fastball right by Jaso. An hour with some movement. Herrera pitched yesterday, pitched the 7th inning. Gave up a home run to Ryan Flaherty and then retired the final 3 hitters he had faced. And that's that. 3 straight fastballs, all right by Jaso. 2 down. The Royals in Fox Sports Kansas City are offering a unique way for fans across the Midwest to enjoy a game at Kauffman Stadium. The Forever Royal Fan Express. The next stop is Wichita, September 5th. Fans in designated markets will have the opportunity to win a trip to the K. Go to Royals.com/Fan Express for more information. Herrera and Forsythe. Logan Forsythe is 0 for 3. Mustache Night at Tropicana Field, sponsored by the Salvador Dali Museum. Line to center. Kane was deep and able to block it and keep it in front of him. Otherwise that would have been ugly and even having some trouble picking it up. But Forsythe will hold with a 2-out single.
Playing no doubles, playing back. Lorenzo was, if he's in 3 or 4 more steps on contact, he would have caught it, but you know what? Use his body there, keep it in front of him.
And up comes Asdrubal Cabrera. For 3 tonight. Singled and scored back in the 2nd inning and then lost a hit on a sliding play by Zobrist in the 6th. One for 5 Cabrera against Herrera, but that one hit was a home run. Two balls, 1 strike. Herrera, a switch hitter. But for Herrera, neither the right side or the left side hits any better than 176 against him. Into center field again. Kane racing to make the play. Cabrera in frustration slams his helmet down. That's been happening all season against the Royals defense.
In the air underneath it. It's going to get caught. Nice play. Good too. Look at that fastball. Low to mid 90s. Hard slider. He's got a split finger.
Rios with the last chance perhaps to extend his hitting streak, which is at 8. He is 0 for 3 so far tonight. One and two. Royals scored 1 in the second. The Rays scored 1 in the second. The Royals got 2 in the third. The Rays got 1 in the bottom of the third, and that's it. 5 consecutive scoreless innings after that. Rios is down on strikes. 1 away in the 9th inning, and that 2 plays really stand out for me right now. Number one, the challenge that the Rays used in the bottom of the first inning, which was really questionable. I mean, we were looking at one another, and then they lost their challenge. And had they not lost their challenge, they could have used it in the 3rd inning on a play where Brian O'Nora, the first base umpire, was wrong. The batter runner was safe at first, but called out. If he was safe, a run would have scored, and it would be 3-3.
Oh, yeah, you're correct. So Cash came out, their manager, and argued. He was not happy. He got tossed right away. Now handed the keys to the ship to Tom Foley. But you're right, that was a turning point, and you know, it was on a bounced ball by Volquez. Salvi picked it up and nailed Nava at second. Looked like Nava overslid the bag, and Salvi tagged him. It looked like it was pretty convincing that he was out. And I agree with you. It's going to be tied.
Although Orlando drove in the Royals' first run in the second inning, Royals have scored all 3 of their runs with 2 outs. Boy, have they piled up the 2 out runs in 5 games with Tampa Bay. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Royals have scored 36 runs against Tampa Bay this year. 36 runs, 22 with 2 outs. The Rays have scored 18 runs against the Royals this year, 2 with 2 outs. Loney goes out, Forsythe goes out, and it's Forsythe for the second out.
Okay, Zobrist hustling down in his first at bat back at the Trop. Okay, Joe said he's safe. Now third inning here. This play by Escobar. The run was crossing the plate at the time of this. Forsythe hustling down by the bag, and we saw it again in a replay, beat it by half a step. Cash said, you know what? I'm tired of that. So many words. And he got ran.
We apologize to the lip readers. But yeah, that's what he was saying.
There was a few rats in there.
I strongly disagree with your call that he was out at first base.
That's right. Something about him riding a horse too. I wasn't sure what he meant by that.
Two balls, 1 strike. A shot to Longoria. Tough night for Escobar, 0 for 5, but his team is 3 outs away from another win. It'll be Greg Holland in the bottom of the 9th with the lower third of the order coming up. Hammer time. Reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals baseball organization. Ryan Lefevre, Rex Hudler with Joel Goldberg and Jeff Montgomery. Producer Joe Lavero. Director Steve Kurtenbach. Associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, Dave Holtzman. And the producer of Royals Live is Brian Shapiro's Greg Holland. Coming on in a non-save situation yesterday against the Orioles. Gave up a couple of runs in a 4-run game. Now he comes in a save situation with no room for error. And with one pitch, he gets one out as Loney hits it to Orlando. And there was a lot of talk after the game about the same thing you and I were amazed by. Greg Holland's first 3 fastballs yesterday were 90 miles an hour. And then his last 3 were 95, 96, and 95 miles an hour.
It just took him a little while to get his rhythm and get going. Regardless, a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, well located, is a good pitch. Slider.
92 at the knees. You and I were looking at each other when those fastballs were coming in going, uh-oh. And Ned Yost, we learned after the game, was saying the same thing. He was watching the radar gun and going, uh-oh. And a slider makes it 0-2.
And here come the Let's Go Royals chants here at the Trop. And the home crowd trying to drown them out.
With chants they've never used before.
Sweet.
2 down.
Excellent sliders. Good fastballs, keeping everything down. Good to keep Kiermaier off the base, too. That guy can fly. Big out. Hosmer saying, all right, no doubles. Looking in there to Mike Jersley, the infielder coach.
J.P. Arancibia just called up when Kurt Casale went on the disabled list. Was it a swing? Yes. On appeal to Brian Honora, the first base umpire. Oh, and 2. Holland did not pitch for 5 days when he appeared yesterday. And now back-to-back games. And looks just like the old Greg Holland. For the first time in 35 years, the Royals are 30 games above 500. You got to go back to the end of the 1980 season when the Royals went to the World Series and faced the Phillies. The Royals finished that year 32 games above 500, and they have not been over 30 games since then.
Congratulations to the fellas. Now they all know that their work is far from over, but what a season so far. And Holland not wasting no time at all in the 9th inning. He went right after him, saying, okay, boys, we're going to get this done.
Royals are now 5-0 against Tampa Bay. They've won 19 of their last 24 against the Rays. And Ben Zobrist honored before the game. His wife Juliana performed the national anthem, and then Zobrist performed during the game.
He sure did. Got him a couple of knocks. Earned that one by legging it out. This one here, he just drilled the base off the base of the right field wall. Hustling to second, and then this nice play for Volquez. Yeah. That's beautiful action for Zobrist. And Volquez and company loved it.
And guess who's standing by on the field with Joel?
Well, the most popular guy in the stadium is, for both teams, Ben Zobrist, the star of the game for us, the return home to St. Petersburg. What was this night like for you? How emotional was it?
Well, before the game, with the little tribute video and, my wife singing the anthem, it was a little bit emotional. It was hard when I was out there at second base not to think about, all the good memories and stuff, trying to stay focused. But fortunately, I got a couple. Fortunately, I got a couple hits early and was able to help the team.
When you're watching that tribute video, which was so well done, and then the emotions, you've seen your wife sing before, but she said she was very emotional too. How are you keeping it together?
I mean, it's tough, It was tough when I looked at her and I could tell she was emotional, but it was a little bittersweet, just coming from the other side of the field, but I'm excited for being in Kansas City now, and I'll always look fondly at my time in Tampa Bay, for sure.
With that said, she talked about it. I know you've talked about it. How much are you loving your time with the Royals and this first-place team?
Yeah, it's been great. Couldn't ask for a better situation to be in, and being able to play well so far with the team has been great. And, we got a long road still ahead of us, but just really excited for this team and excited for, how great of a team it is.
Final question. You've played a lot of games here in this interesting dome, and, of course, you end up winning because of a home run that hits one of the rings. Were you surprised at all?
Well, when I saw it off the bat, I knew it was a bomb. That C ring, there's not a lot of people that hit that ring in center field like he did. So just really impressive. Mo's got incredible power, and I haven't seen that much. I saw Carlos Pena do it once when I was here, but there's not a lot of times that happens.
Pleasure to visit with you tonight, your wife, total class, and congratulations on the return back to St. Pete.
Thank you, Joel. Thanks.
Ben Zobrist, what a night for him, and he is now being applauded. We don't see this very often, guys, by folks wearing Royals shirts and Rays shirts. Back up to you.
Well, he'll remember his time here fondly, and the same is true for Rays fan Greg Holland. A one-pitch flyout and then 2 3-pitch strikeouts to nail down the victory. We'll be right back.